Hey there. Bitcoin's not something that I generally trade, but I do get asked quite a bit about it. So, if you're interested in where the Bitcoin market can go and what my thoughts would be on it, let's take a look at a Bitcoin chart and we'll go from there. We'll apply some just basic technical analysis to the Bitcoin market, and from there, we'll get an idea of what can potentially happen with the future of Bitcoin, the near future. So, let's take a look at a chart and we'll get on that right now. So this is the Bitcoin versus the US dollar. Now, what we're looking at is currently a price of about $7,477.33. So right now we are in a bit of a downtrend. Now, the market has moved from this swing high to this swing low. Now, my thinking was that if we could break below 7,700, which is what this dotted line was, that we would be able to make the run for 6,000. And it made a good way there, made 2/3 of the way there before it came back. Now, a reversal is not uncommon. That's the way the market moves. It will move in a zigzag kind of pattern until it gets to where it's going. And what's happened here is a very large move in one direction without a correction. So this correction in this area right now is totally expected. It's not something, it would be surprising if it continued all the way down. I just zoom in a little bit. So if this market were to continue to move all the way down to 6,000, again, that would be a little bit surprising. So this move up is totally expected. This is something that we'd like to see happen because it gives us opportunities. This is getting a little hard to see, so I'm just going to zoom back out. I hope that's okay with you guys. So with this becomes the question, how far can the market retrace? If we're going to see a retracement, how far can we go? Now, the first thing is, now, in order to keep this clean, I'm just going to move this out of the way. The first thing is going to be my Fibonacci. I'm going to put a Fibonacci retracement tool on my chart. And then from here, I'm going to draw this window. This is going to be inside that 38.2 and the 61.8 range. Now, this becomes my reversal window. If the price can get to the bottom or anywhere inside of this window, I'd be primed for looking for shorting opportunities. I'd be looking to take a sell trade from this. Now, it's not going to be just because we get into that area. I'm going to be looking for a trigger of some kind, and that's probably going to be on something smaller like the 4-hour. We're going to have an event like this, a down, up, down, up. And we're going to have maybe something that we can use to draw a trend line with. Or we're going to see some kind of trigger this way. But I'm not just going to take the trade based on a touch of this window. I'd like to get a little more confirmation than just that. So back to the daily time frame, I'm looking to get inside that window. And then from here, I'd be looking for the shorting opportunity. And that short, I would love to hold on to that until 6,000. Now, Bitcoin is a bit of an odd duck as far as the currency markets go. As far as trading anything goes, it has a rhythm to it, but it's always a little more skewed than most instruments that I've noticed anyways. But this is still the assessment that I would make. I'm looking for the price to come back up into this zone, into this window, and then back down into the 6,000 level. Now, with that being said, we got to be prepared for it not to work out this way. It may not work out this way. If we get above the window, price could just continue to move up. If it gets below the window, maybe it'll only get to this swing low before it bounces. So we want to be prepared for anything that can happen. We don't know for sure that the market is going to go to 6,000, but that is a trade that I've got in mind. And if I were to play it, this is how I would play it out. I'd be looking to hang on to that trade, looking for the pullbacks along the way, managing my stops appropriately, gunning for that 6,000 level. I'm going to take a couple more instances here. We're going to look at this again from a different technical point of view. I'm going to draw an area right here. This is an area of support and resistance, and this is a fairly strong area. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 touches off of this level, even up in here a little bit. So a pullback could get as far as this area of support and resistance. Now, that's a little too far for me. It's really close to this swing high. I'd like to see that it doesn't get as far as that, but it potentially could. That area is going to draw the market into it. But Again, that is a really big pullback. That is a substantial pullback, and I would like to see that we don't get quite as far as that. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to draw a trend line now across the top. Now, I like this much better than that area of support and resistance. Price, as it pulls back, could get to this trend line and then bounce off of this trend line. So once the market gets up in towards the trend line, it doesn't have to get right to it, but if it gets close to it, then again, I'd be looking for that opportunity to take a short trade. This would be an opportunity that shows up on the 4 hour, maybe even the 1 hour, but I don't think I'd go as low as that. This is the daily assessment, so I think as low as I would go would be the 4 hour, but we get something in here called confluence now. That Fibonacci window is something that happens over and over again. I trust that Fibonacci window, this zone. It's happened so many times that it's just the way the market moves. It's extremely reliable. So having the Fibonacci window and the trend line together, and we know that the price can bounce off of the trend line, we've got that confluence. We've got more than one thing saying that this could potentially be the place that we'd be looking for the short trade. I'd be more than happy to look for shorting opportunities inside of this zone. And again, the first target would be the swing low that the market has made at approximately 65.50, but my main target is this 6,000 level. So that's the way I'm looking at Bitcoin right now. I'd love to see that it gets down to 6,000, and the fact that it gets to 6,000 is just the way the technicals are talking to me. I'd like to see it pull up into that Fibonacci window, and then from there, I would love to see that it gets down to 6,000. Once we get to 6,000, I'm going to make another assessment, and we'll see, can it drop further than that, or maybe it's going to bounce from there, and if it does, where can it potentially go? Again, it's not written in stone. Bitcoin moves kind of funny. It's a little bit different than most of the other vehicles that I'm familiar with, but we still can apply essential technical analysis and trade assessment to it and get some ideas. Now, the biggest thing that I want you to take away from this is a plan. Now, I may be completely wrong as far as how the market's going to move with this, but I have a plan. So I've got this idea that we're going to get into the Fibonacci window. We can hit the very bottom of it. Doesn't even have to get into it, but if we hit the bottom, then I'm going to start to look for trading opportunities, potentially on the 4 hour time frame. That would be the best because we get a little bit of a closer view. And those trading opportunities are going to want me to go short. So I'll be looking for those short trades. I'm going to have my stop loss placed appropriately, and I'm going to manage the trade as that market moves. But I've got a plan. I know how I'm going to get in. I know where my stops are going to be. I know where my exit is going to be. I know how I'm going to manage the trade as it goes. And again, if I'm completely wrong with this, that's the way it works sometimes. 30% of the time, you're not going to get it right. But the other 70%, 60%, even 55% of the time, when you do get it right, it pays off. And it makes up for the times you don't get it right. So the plan's in place, and that's the way I'm looking at Bitcoin. Maybe this was a little bit more information than you kind of signed up for when you looked at this video. But there it is. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe if you haven't done that. And if you are interested in learning how to become a better trader, check out forexmasonry.com. You'll have full-time access to me, and we'll get you trading profitably in 4 weeks. All right, I will see you at Forex Masonry, or I'll see you in another video. Either way, you have a great day.